We believe that collaborative conversations will lead to better outcomes in the world of mental health. Welcome to the Lift and Make Lighter podcast.
Okay, welcome to the Lift and Make Lighter podcast. I am so excited to be here with Shannon Ricks, LMFT of Modern Eve Therapy. Thanks for being here, Shannon.
Yeah, happy to be talking to you.
So excited. We've wanted to have this conversation for quite a while.
Totally.
And the reason I'm drawn to Shannon and her work is because she works with body image and disordered eating and eating disorder clients. And that needs to be talked about more. And stigma needs to be broken down. So we're going to dive in right away and I know, Shannon, that you were in high school, you had a psychology class, and you were really interested in that. Mm-hmm. So did you know right from the get-go after that class that you wanted to do this, work as a therapist?
Yeah, totally. I recall reading like John Gottman and like marriage counseling books when everyone else was reading Harry Potter. So I for sure was like, I want to be a therapist. I want to help people with like their boy problems. That was originally where I wanted to go with like marriage counseling or couples therapy. But definitely at 16, I was like, I feel so seen in this classroom full of people who think deeply, who feel big emotions, who are so curious about the world. I'm like, these are my people. Yeah, absolutely.
That is so great that you knew so young.
I know. How lucky is that? Like, seriously, I didn't realize how lucky that was until becoming an adult. I'm like, wow,
how rare that is.
Exactly.
So with that, where did you get the desire and drive and passion to work with those with disordered eating and eating disorders? Because that is obviously something that is rare.
Totally. And it kind of crazy because it wasn't a part of my story personally. I definitely struggled a lot with depression. So that was part of my story. Mm-hmm. But just right after finishing grad school, I was applying for jobs and got a job at the Center for Change and Eating Disorder Treatment Center and fell in love with the clients. They were my friends. They were people I was relating to, like in a way, not that they were like my actual friends, but like they reminded me of my friends and was very familiar to me. And I realized how similar my perfectionistic brain was to theirs and just really loved them. I think that was it. I just loved and respected them in a way that I didn't always have that same love and respect for some of the like troubled teens I worked with previously with different issues. But this one really lit my feminist fire, especially.
Okay. I love that. And it's just rare that happens. I think often people are scared to work with this clientele and shy away from it, and even are told, not everyone, but many in school are said to stay away, don't treat eating disorders, but who's going to do it if not you?
That's right.
If not me, if not those that are willing to get past that fear. And it's a growing concern, as we know, because diet culture is so prominent in our culture in Western society. So I'm glad we're talking. So you mentioned depression and that you did have dealt with that.
For sure.
So tell us a little bit about the history of that, just because there is so much to that with people that actually do end up trying to manage depression or anxiety or OCD, several disorders, with their eating. And it turns into an eating disorder. You didn't, which is wonderful. But tell us kind of how your background is with depression.
Yeah. So in having depression, I was just swimming in shame kind of all the time. I felt like that was just how I lived. And so there were different behaviors that I would do to compensate for that by appearing to be perfect. I got really good at people pleasing, really good at detaching or not being in touch with my needs in order to meet the needs of others, getting good grades, just being the gal who like everyone wanted to be friends with. That worked really well for me. So I could feel like I wasn't a terrible person, even though I felt like I was on the inside. I felt like I was like tricking everyone into seeing that I was full of worth when I wasn't. And how similar that is to people who fall into disordered eating.
Yeah.
It's also oftentimes a compensation for an insecurity that's going on inside. So definitely related there.
So when did that start? What age? Do you remember?
It's 15, 16.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was really hard all through my teenage years. And I remember just trying to outrun it by staying busy, by staying productive. I worked many jobs. I was performing at big theaters. I did not rest because the moment I stopped, it would all catch up to me and I'd feel it all. So I was outrunning that big time.
Yeah, I can relate to that because in high school, I am very similar background with the perfectionism and had to get the perfect grades. And that was my worth. My worth was tied to that and
exactly.
being such an easy pleaser and people pleaser. So I thought I was doing everyone a favor by, always being agreeable and not having much of an opinion. And what a disservice that was. I'm glad I've learned, but I do like how you said that it was compensating and you stayed busy. Because I remember feeling guilty for ever resting. If I was taking a nap on an afternoon and someone called me, I would pretend I hadn't been asleep and I would try to say something so my voice didn't sound tired. And if someone said, "Were you napping?" I felt guilt and I would say, "Oh, I just haven't talked in a while." So weird.
Totally.
And rest is so beneficial, but I saw that as a weakness. I thought it was weak.
Yeah, same.
If I wasn't going. And yeah, I'm grateful that I stayed busy and did all that, but I also wish I would have gone easier on my body and mind and rested and not felt guilty for that.
Totally. Well, and to where that led me, my belief is, so when I was 18 years old and still doing the outrunning thing, working several jobs, exercise instructor, dance teacher, I suddenly, in the course of a week, could not physically do those things anymore. I had no idea what was going on, what was wrong. And I spent the next 11 years with a diagnosis of just chronic fatigue. I never could exercise after that. I never could. And I believe that I burnt out whatever thing in my body was making me go, finally gave up. And this was my body's way of finally slowing me down. I think it tried many other ways to slow me down. Depression tried to slow me down. I was like, no, I have to be productive, have to have meaning in this world. I have to matter. But yeah, my body was very smart and came up with a chronic illness to finally slow me down in a way that I could no longer ignore. And so, yeah, I live with that to this day.
To this day, still dealing with that.
Yeah.
So that's hard.
But now I
you know how to manage now?
It's so crazy. It's not even, so yes, I definitely learned to manage it. But so crazy is I learned to love it. And I know that's so radical to hear. How could we love this thing that's like a disease that holds us back from living this life that we wanted to live? But it's so true. Like this chronic fatigue. I've also got the diagnosis of narcolepsy, but I also don't super identify with that diagnosis. So I'm just going to say chronic illness. She's my homegirl. She looks out for me and makes sure that I'm taking care of myself because she doesn't trust, and understandably so, that I won't ignore some of my needs without her help. She'll make sure that I am taking really good care of myself.
Yeah, and I don't think it's that crazy that you feel that way because, there's things, including dealing with an eating disorder myself, where I feel grateful for it.
Yeah.
Because I love the quote that says, "You are best equipped to serve the person you once were."
That's right.
And so we can have compassion knowing how we felt at that time and what worked and what didn't. And so there's a lot of benefit to that. I love that you have found benefit and strength from that difficult thing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
and
me
I
too.
want to circle back to when you said, I was doing all these things because I wanted to feel like I mattered. So do you have clients that come in that you see these same patterns and they want to matter or feel like they're doing good things and going down the same path that you did?
Absolutely.
And what do you tell someone in that, or how do you help them?
Absolutely. So yeah, I'd say a common thread for clients are feeling like their needs don't matter And that, feels familiar to me as well, that, my needs didn't matter. And so in super general, brief terms, like the way we treat that is their needs first have to start mattering to themselves. They're like upset that it's not mattering to their spouse or to their parents or to the world. Fair. But do they actually matter to you? Because that's where we need to start. And once they start mattering to you, you act differently, you behave differently, you start setting boundaries, and then those people in your life start seeing your needs as mattering more than they did. So, yeah.
And setting boundaries can be so hard when you're a people pleaser because you don't want to rock the boat, but it's love. Boundaries are love for yourself.
That's right.
And for others, even though with practice it gets easier.
Boundaries are totally love for yourself, which is hard when you don't love yourself yet.
Yes,
So sometimes it's faking
so
it.
the role of you is to guide in that, right? I mean, to talk through that and work on that, and they come back and can report progress or no progress, and talk through the hard things.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I mean, it is a journey. It's hard to, do one thing for 40 years and then start doing something different. And yet I do see it. I see it in my office. People absolutely relearn these things and reprogram their default ways of being. And it's so beautiful to see.
That is beautiful. Amazing that can happen.
Totally.
I will hear people say, it's too late. Like, I've dealt with it this long. Why would I try now? It's too late. Not at all.
No, it's really not.
The brain connections can change, and behaviors can change.
Absolutely. With intentionality, with mindfulness, like you can catch it. You can definitely on purpose do something different.
I love that. So I know it was recently Eating Disorder Awareness Week, which is fantastic. And I do love all of the posts that are shown and the statistics, but I also sometimes struggle with it just because everyone reads that, but it's not giving ideas and tools to really change those statistics. So one thing that I have had family members ask, of a loved one that is dealing with these issues of disordered eating or eating disorder, can you tell someone how to help get their family member in or bring themselves in? How does someone do that? When you see them, they're so nervous to come in. But do you have any tips or ideas on how to help people talk to someone if they know there's an issue going on?
Yeah, I guess I just really want to emphasize that you don't have to look a certain way to have an eating disorder. Because I feel like when people see Eating Disorder Awareness Week, almost a lot of people won't identify with that. Like, sure, they're like, maybe I have some issues with body and food, but I don't have this eating disorder because that's super duper skinny girls.
Yes. And we'll often hear, I'm not sick enough.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm not sick enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm too old. Yeah, things like this are things we hear. And so the truth is, if you are discontented with your relationship with body or food, help is available. And that's all you need. Like, discontented, sure, whether we call it an eating disorder or not, whether we call it disordered eating, whether we don't even put a name on it.
Right.
If you don't like the relationship you have with the body you are in, if you don't like the relationship with the food you are eating, then let's go.
I love that. And some examples would be if you are thinking about food all the time.
That's right.
If you are looking in the mirror all the time and pinching and body checking, that would be another one.
If you're counting a lot of things with numbers, whether it's like having to hit certain macros, certain calorie numbers, in the gym, if there are certain numbers, if numbers are becoming really important to you, that can be concerning.
Yes. And if you have to work out to earn your food, that's a big one. There's so many. So I love that you said, if any of that's going on, even on a small scale, if you are discontented with how things are going or how you feel about your body or relationship with food, come in and get help. And I would say, I know there's not a ton of specialists in this field, but if you find one that works in this field, very beneficial.
Totally.
Because some don't know what to say. And I don't want to say that to scare other providers from working in it, but go to a specialist and it will go really well and hopefully won't steer you away from treatment.
Totally. Yeah. And luckily we have a whole team of people who specialize in it, at Modern Eve. But one thing I do want to say too is that, like, I imagine there could be some parents who are listening to this who are more looking at the needs of their kids. And I just want to say, like, your needs matter too. And I know you're not used to those needs mattering because your kids have always come first, but your needs also matter. And if you want to improve your relationship with food and body, not just your kid, but you, like, help is available.
I love that because they're watching.
That's right.
You might not think they're noticing you doing the checking or you counting everything. They are watching so closely. And actions speak louder than words when we're saying, or, you know, when people say, eat this and then you refuse to.
That's right.
They're watching.
They notice the meals you skip. They notice the face you pull when you look in the mirror. They notice the grunt you made at the person in the larger body. Like, yeah, they notice. Yeah. They're clocking that.
And another thing I wanted to circle back on that I'm so glad you said was you can't tell by looking at someone if they have an eating disorder.
That's right.
Or disordered eating.
That's right.
You cannot tell. I know everyone goes to the typical frail, thin, undernourished body, but someone in a larger body could be even more dangerously malnourished.
That's right.
Than someone that you can visibly see.
That's right.
And it's also not okay to assume someone in a larger body has binge eating disorder.
Correct.
Not anorexia.
Correct.
So it's breaking down that stigma and just educating people, because I understand people don't know this, but that just helps biases.
Right.
Breaking that down.
Right. To just question those if you notice an automatic thought.
Yes.
That to be like, well, you know what? I actually don't know. I don't know their story.
Yeah.
I'm just judging their body. Hey, what was that about?
And I don't know if you are concerned with someone. I would say act with curiosity.
That's right.
Ask questions. Try to put aside your own fear about weight bias or body image. Just be curious and ask questions. And the hard thing is, many people with eating disorders will say they're fine. Many don't even know how sick they are. There's a term that it's a big word, anosognosia, where they literally, it's the same thing that happens to those with schizophrenia where they can't see clearly. Now, I'm not talking about hallucinations, but they truly think they are fine.
That's right.
The brain is so malnourished in this case that it gives the same effect as someone not being in tune with reality.
For sure.
Because they don't see it being an issue.
Right.
So they will say, I'm fine. But if there's more to that, lovingly question and say, let's go see someone because I love you.
Right.
Hopefully that could help.
Right.
That's hard.
I hope so too. And I really want to stress, like, I know that some parents or spouses like worry if their partner's getting a larger body or like their body's growing quickly. That can be an area for concern for them. And I would say, look at yourself and what your own biases are if those are coming up. I wouldn't say that that's a time to really like try and nudge them into getting help or treatment, because it may actually not be a problem with them and maybe with the way that you're viewing bodies.
That's key. Mic drop. Because, hold on that for sure. And I also want to bring up, we'll get into diet culture. So speaking about diet culture, it's everywhere. It's on everything we see, everything we look at, everything we hear about. It's everywhere. And it's masked in a very clever way to look like, quote unquote, healthy. I don't like that term, but
that's right.
That is what we're supposed to be, is what we hear and see. And one of the issues is, especially in Utah, we're around the same people, a lot of the same people. There's not a lot of diversity, variety. But one thing we can do being in Utah to help with that and to help our own biases is to unfollow some that might have some behaviors or practices that are big in diet culture and actually follow people with different sized bodies, different color skin, just more variety and diversity. And that can start to help us feel better, actually.
That's right.
That we don't need to compare, and we don't need to compare anyway, but it makes it easier to say, oh yeah, like there is such a variety out in the world. And I think when we're stuck in our own little bubble, that makes it very hard.
You're so correct. That is where eating disorders are more prevalent, is at places where there's not as much diversity. And so you're so right. By increasing the diversity you're seeing, by intentionally unfollowing certain people who look just like you, or like these small white girls, like, let's get some diversity in your feed. That is absolutely a way to help ruin or break the cycle.
Yes. And in therapy, when you bring up that suggestion, do you find that that's hard for people? How do you help someone? There's a lot of resistance when I suggest that. Maybe it's the way I'm doing it, but it seems almost scary. Like, I can't unfollow these people that they admire, probably, or their life looks great, but I guess just education helps.
Yeah, I think it is like them just really weighing like the benefits versus the costs. Because you're right, maybe you do keep some of your favorites, but what are some that actually, if you're really being honest with yourself, do make you feel like crap? Like, after you see their stuff, like, let's get really honest here. And okay, maybe your homework is to unfollow 10 people this week. Like,
So good.
Like, let's just do it little by little.
Yeah, do it a little bit at a time. So one thing that I think is so helpful for so many is talking about diets. Talk about a little bit. It's a $1 trillion industry.
Oh my gosh.
Right, and growing.
For real.
So I just love to hear why diets don't work. Is it a failing?
Yeah.
So what happens when people diet?
Yeah, well, I've heard a statistic that like 1 in 4 people who go on diets develop eating disorders. I don't know if that's really true, but if that's the case, woof, that is some risky business you are getting into right there. So already I'm nervous. But people are generally pursuing, yes, they want to pursue health, but they also are trying to pursue privilege, power, things like this that come with, are secondary to the smaller body or the more in shape body or whatever. Because unfortunately, we live in a society that does give applause and more power and privilege to people in bodies that look more healthy.
Right, which is
in
false,
quotes.
right?
That's
Yes,
right.
yes, with
It's
an
not even
asterisk.
actual health. That's right. And now I'm not even remembering what the question was.
No, that answered it. That answered it. And with that, just understanding that since it is a false ideal, that we shouldn't comment on people's bodies. So people say, well, if they lost weight, I've heard so many people say, why would I not give them that compliment? Because you have no idea what's underneath that. And I want to stress that if someone has lost 30 pounds, don't comment on it. Don't
comment.
say you look so great.
Correct.
You might be feeding into an eating disorder. They
That's
might
right.
be, well, it might be medical, right?
It
It's
might
something-
be, grief. It might be addiction.
Might be trauma.
Might be cancer. It might be trauma.
And it might be
There
restricting.
are so many things it could be. So yeah,
So find something else to compliment on, and let's just not comment. And I know people think, no, it's harmless. Like, that would make them feel good. Yes, for a minute, but it feeds the disordered eating or eating disorder fire. And it also is harmful for those in smaller bodies because they might hate their smaller body. I'm thinking of men that might want to bulk up. Like, don't say anything. Or girls that do have medical issues or just are naturally in a smaller body and they don't like all the comments. That makes them, I've had patients that then develop an eating disorder because they think when someone says, oh, aren't you going to eat more? And then the food noise comes.
Sure.
It's just very harmful. So that's something everyone can do to
stop
spread awareness.
Complimenting weight loss. And even like a big like bulking that you might see someone do, that's still something to catch yourself and be like, you know what? That's a body comment. No, how else can I ask this person how they're doing?
Yes.
Or be like, dude,
and
how are you?
I love that. And I went to a conference yesterday. Oh, I need to find, it's 3 3 doors that your thought needs to pass before you actually say it. It was wisdom from the Buddha. You know, it's that
Okay.
kind of practice. Now, you might think, is it true? Sure, you've noticed this, but don't say that because you don't know the reason behind it. But is it necessary? And is it kind? You might think that kind of comment is kind, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
So just steer away from those kind of compliments.
Totally.
And one thing I love to bring awareness to is that everybody, why diets don't work,
Oh, yeah, that
and
was the
why we
question.
mostly gain some weight, extra weight after each one. You talked about this before, Shannon, how you said the body is in a state of famine, really. And then when the diet, quote unquote, fails, which is not true, it's biological. The drive our anxiety goes up to find food, our drive for carbohydrates goes up, and
That's
other
right.
things. And so then the body overcompensates a little because our bodies are so freaking smart that it's going to say, well, I don't know when this is going to happen again. Because they don't know if we're in the desert or if we're restricting. So it's acting like we can't find food
That's
anywhere
right.
around
It
us.
stops trusting
Yes.
you that you're
Which
going
is-
to feed it regularly and
So
consistently.
it's going to bulk on more, usually 5 to 10 pounds for next time that famine happens. And that increases each time a diet happens. Diets fail. They don't work.
That's right.
And someone can diet, but then you are subjecting yourself to a diet, to a lifetime of restricted portion sizes, calorie counting, food noise. I know people don't believe this that are listening and struggling, but there is a place of peace with food
That's
and
right.
your body.
That's right.
I know it might not seem that way, but there is.
Well, and what is restricted becomes addicted. And so it's just what will happen biologically. You're right. Is that
Yes.
we will start to focus on food. Food noise develops out of a restrictive mindset.
Yes. So glad you brought that up because people also think that that is a moral failing.
Oh my gosh.
I failed again today.
It's like, no, your body's taking care of you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Your
So-
body's doing exactly what it was programmed to do.
Which is amazing. It's saving you.
Yes.
It's saving
you
you.
from starvation.
And then the cycle happens the next day, and then there's guilt and shame.
That's right.
So if you realize this isn't me and have compassion for yourself and realize how smart your body is,
That's right.
hopefully that guilt and shame won't come because you said it perfectly. Say that again, restriction.
What is restricted becomes addicted.
So an example, if you're cutting out food groups, you are going to see that, when you are looking for a car, you decide what car you want. And you're like, oh,
You
I've
start
never
seeing
seen
it
that.
everywhere.
Yeah, you're like, I've never seen that on the road. Then everyone has that car. So if you restrict, kind of similar. If you restrict something,
that's what you'll be craving.
yes,
That's
your
what
body
you'll be
needs
noticing. And your body's smart and will give you these cravings
Yes.
with the hopes that you'll
Yes.
do something about it. So we'll see a lot of people even get obsessive about cooking shows or baking or things like this when they're in that restrictive
Yes.
state.
And that reminds me, I don't have the study with me, but the Minnesota starvation
Yes,
study, that exactly happened.
Yes.
So look that up. I will botch it if I try to summarize it. But really, they did put men on these restrictive diets, and they became obsessed with reading cookbooks and having dreams about food and cooking food. And
Right.
it's fascinating.
So if food noise is going on, that's my first question is what's possibly being maybe restrictive?
yeah. So everybody has a weight range. And
A set point. We call it set point.
yes,
Yeah.
I love that. And so that again, and our bodies know where that set point is. That's our homeostasis.
That's right.
So yes, can weight come off? Sure. For many people it can. But our body is most comfortable at that set point.
That's right. That's like our optimal health is going to be at this set point that our body just keeps on gravitating towards, whether we like it or not. And then it will gravitate towards that when we are eating regularly, balanced meals, when we are just moving our body moderately. Yeah, that's where your body will go.
And we do not get to choose our set point.
That's right.
It's
I'm so
studies
sorry,
show
but you
it's
don't.
80% of our body weight, shape, and size are determined by genetics, which means that we have way less control than we think. But
That's
diet
right.
culture would never tell us that because that would be at a cost
right.
of sales.
That's right.
So truly, I know people hear this all the time that, diets don't work, but they think, yeah, this one's going to work. This is a new one. This new supplement is going to help. It just doesn't work. Yes, can it work for a time? Yes, but your body is biologically going to return to this set point.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe now that people know that, hopefully some of the guilt and shame can go away, but it's not a moral failing.
That's right. That's
So-
right. Your body's just doing what it was programmed to do.
So another thing I want to touch on, because it can create, as we know, anxiety and depression when those are going on and someone doesn't know how to manage those, this restriction or binging, a way to control those feelings comes in.
That's right.
And so I also want to bring in the topic of trauma. You do trauma work,
Lots.
which I love.
Lots.
So can you talk a little bit about that and the relationship between trauma being, maybe people have heard little T or big T, but little trauma, big trauma, and how it correlates with eating disorders or disordered eating.
Yeah, totally. So a big T trauma is going to be like a one-time really scary big thing that happened and is oftentimes more validated by society as, of course, that was so scary and hard. What's tricky is when you have the little T trauma, which can be a relational betrayal, a relational loss, this just message of your needs don't matter or you're not good enough over years of time. Those really build up in a person, and we call those little T traumas. So, there are different things like in my story that I did to compensate for my feelings of shame. And I see lots of people doing it with anxiety too, the way that they compensate for that shame. And so if we really are treating the shame that's underneath it, then there's less of a need for the compensating behaviors. Again, I need to go back to what your question
that
was,
answered it beautifully.
Okay.
And it aligns with my story. Because yes, back when I was younger, I would have thought none of this is a big deal. But all of these little things, and I'll name them here just because it was junior high, I was in 8th grade. And friends and life, and I loved school and elementary and friends. I was very social, and that changed. And I did not know who I was, but it wasn't because of one event. It was, like you said, lots of little things that were traumatic for me.
Yeah.
So I had anxiety my whole life and managed it, I guess, by being active. I like to be active. It would have been good to talk to someone, but I didn't know. And nothing was hindering my, like, how life was going.
Ability to function.
Yes, I was functioning great. Junior high, though, some friends changed and I didn't know my place. Then I tried out for a choir, which is so funny to say, but it was like the choir, show choir.
Sure.
And I didn't make it. I hadn't done girls' glee club or 7th grade choir. And, everyone that was in that made it. I don't know if that would have made a difference, but I'm not tone deaf. So I was just like, what the heck?
So I imagine that, like, you somewhere kind of were starting to get the idea of, like, maybe you're not, like, good enough in some way. And that choir audition for you could have been a little T trauma because it reinforced this message of, see, you really aren't good enough.
Yeah.
Now what?
It sure did. And I would walk with a friend that did make it. So on mornings when she had practice, I would walk alone, and then I would walk by the auditorium where they were practicing. It just kept.
And how that would even
salt in the
emphasize,
wound.
see, like, I'm not only not good enough, but now I'm alone. Okay, girl. Like,
Did not feel good.
Yes, that right there is like a little T trauma
Yes.
for sure. It's relational trauma as well as like a shame
Yes.
thing.
And I guess before that was 8th grade, but 7th grade I was running track. And we got good and we won our relay. It was just a relay, but it was so fun. And there was a lot of attention and compliments for that. And that felt really great. So we wanted to get faster.
Sure.
And so then we thought, no one else did this but me, being the perfectionist that I was and recovering still. But I cut out all fat from my diet. So then we got into that. Now people would maybe say clean eating part of it, but orthorexia, because I took it too far. I cut out fat. And somehow, as I malnourished and didn't have enough fat, then it just went down a slippery slope and turned into anorexia, where I had that anosognosia. I couldn't see in the mirror that I was just,
you couldn't see
depleted
yourself clearly anymore.
and I couldn't think clearly anymore. So that being said, it was a lot of little things
added
and
up.
I stopped. Then it did impact my life and my function, because I stopped doing things I loved. Like I dropped out of honors classes and stopped playing the piano. And yeah, it was hard. And my sister said, why won't you talk to me? And again, I said, I'm fine. I thought I was fine.
Sure.
Yeah. So I started to implode by restricting to keep control in what was so out of control. So
Yeah. I'm glad you're sharing, because I feel like there's going to be people who will resonate with that and see themselves in you.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And I used to not be able to. My throat would close up. I would shake when I would share. But the more you share, if someone's listening and is too scared to even come in to a therapist like Shannon, it gets easier. The repetition, and you can help someone. So I highly recommend seeking out a therapist that is trained to move through trauma, whatever it is for you. And hopefully people don't think, well, my trauma isn't big enough.
Yeah, it's anything that your little self or your self now saw as too much, too soon, too big, too something that can be traumatizing.
Yeah. So since I brought up, the orthorexia, let's talk a little bit about clean eating, because I feel like I know,
Gross.
I know, and it is another. I know people. This is gonna ruffle some feathers, but it's a disguised way at a diet and a disguised way of some disordered eating.
That's
so
right.
Can you talk a little about things you've seen or why that is?
Yeah, to pursue clean eating kind of assumes it's and the opposite, that there's also dirty eating or unclean eating. So that's the issue, is like the divisiveness of this. Instead of just a person trying to eat all the food groups and eat well, like instead it's like, oh, eating clean means I now need to avoid things that are perceived as dirty and unclean. And yeah, that restricts a lot of food groups, one at a time, foods, opportunities, and your world starts becoming smaller. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I know people will disagree. They love counting the macros and doing it perfectly. But I do think with doing clean eating, if it gets to be where there's so much rigidity as well, there needs to be flexibility, just to be able to live fully.
Right. And the underlying question is, what are you compensating for? Why do you need to do this? Is this truly because there was some health thing that your doctor literally told you needed to do? Or is this just like an impression and there's really underlying unmet emotional needs that you are meeting through this clean eating? That's what we get really curious about in therapy.
Yes. I love that you said, is this something, is it medical necessity?
Yes.
Then, okay.
We understand. Totally different, for sure.
Totally different. And again, to any medical providers listening that do recommend a diet, just please don't.
Yeah,
just don't.
Would you not? Yeah.
Yeah, just please don't.
Yeah, I mean, like let that be up to, dietitians too. But I like more of the general advice, like, hey, let's try and get more protein in your diet, like
what can
stuff
you
like
add
that.
in?
Yes, adding.
Yeah,
adding in is absolutely the way to.
Yes, and looking at clean eating, for me, not even the same definition of what society looks at clean eating. I look at things that benefit my health, my body, my mind, which is a variety of foods. What people say processed or not processed, it's all welcome, and I've learned what feels good to me. So I don't restrict. I just know what feels good to me, and what if I don't know, lean too heavy on one food group, even if it were to be fruit all day, I probably wouldn't feel super great. I need fat.
That's right.
I need carbs. You need variety.
That's right. To function our best.
Yeah.
Yep. Balanced eating.
Yes, balanced eating. With that, a big thing that's talked about is intuitive eating.
Love it.
Yes.
Love intuitive eating.
I know that there's a lot there, and there's a book and a workbook and so many principles of it, but can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So intuitive eating is the process of getting so in touch with your body and what it's needing, what it's asking you for, that you're able to just feed it with the knowledge of your body in mind. This is really different from people who are on diets who are going off of the knowledge of just their brain and what their brain thinks they should be eating. There's a lot of shoulds, there's a lot of rules.
Yes.
And it's really discounting what your body is asking you for and what it wants. So it's a really beautiful way to get your body and brain all like on the same page.
Which I know people listening are thinking, that sounds impossible.
Totally.
I know that.
Totally. And people will often think too that like, oh, intuitive eating. So if my body wants cake, I just give it to them all the time. Right. And like, that's also another extreme, which is also not honoring your body. Cause guess what? If you ate cake like several times a day, do you think your body would feel good?
Circling back to what I just said, like
Exactly.
I know, I mean, there were times when I was working on my relationship with food and I would eat a lot of sweets and I did not feel good after.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved learning what felt good.
That's right.
Not that.
That's right. So it's like, yes, there is some middle ground. Don't be scared of it. Don't think this is going to just mean I'm going to eat everything and anything. Like, nah. Because that actually won't feel good to your body either. Right. So, yeah.
And that is hard. I mean, there's so many co-occurring disorders, one being ADHD and there's impulsivity, right? And so I get a lot of people that say, well, what do you tell kids? Or my child is gaining so much weight. But I will say on the medical side, I mean, starting early, 8 to through adolescence, they need to gain. Many do gain weight, up to 30 pounds.
Yeah, you'll need to.
When they are building, and then other growth is going to happen. Yep, and puberty's happening. And so they need that. And so I know it can seem scary for parents. And it's scary and detrimental if bullying happens because of it.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm sure you've seen some clients, as I have, that come in because of bullying, because of weight. Again, circling back to don't comment on people's bodies.
That's right.
But just to be aware of your own bias of if your child is gaining weight, that actually is normal during that time. And bodies fluctuate anyway. But I'm saying when there's a big increase, you don't need to panic.
Yeah.
Their body knows what to do. And just, again, offering variety of choices and having them, listen to their body as best they can. I know that, and if they need help with that, come, again, see a dietitian or a therapist can be helpful.
Yeah. And providing some basic nutritional education, I think isn't
not good and
age
bad.
Appropriate.
Yes.
That's right.
So good.
That's right.
And Shannon, before when we were talking, you mentioned something about what you do with kids or how you recommend to help children.
Yeah. So I actually don't treat kids, but I treat a lot of parents of kids.
Yes.
And they'll ask me how do I make sure and not pass on my disordered eating to my child? So one of the things I'll say is don't comment on your child's appearance. Yes. We're going to focus more on function, but a really fun ritual that you can do is at the end of the day, talking about your different body parts and how they served you that day or how we're grateful for it. How did your hands do it? My hands made me dribble this basketball. Okay. And how did your legs, my legs made me run so fast. Let's say thank you to your legs for running so fast and thank you to your hands for dribbling that basketball. That's the approach we want to have with kids and not about how they look bigger or smaller or different than another person's.
That is so good. I love that. So when they're questioning or saying, I gained weight, or if you're worried and want to say something, have that focus on what is your body doing for you?
Yes. Yeah.
And
that's you do it too.
parts. Yes.
Yeah. Let's do it all together around the dinner table. How did the parents, bodies serve them that day? Yes. I'm so grateful I have a back that sits up straight, so I can do my work. Not everyone has that. I'm so grateful mine does. Let's be nice to our bodies. It serves us in so many ways.
That's beautiful. And I love that everyone can do it together. Mm-hmm. And another thing is when going back to kids, and if they get on the scale at the pediatrician and they are given, that BMI range. Ugh. Let's talk about that for a minute. I love because it's true. So BMI, they're not taking into account body composition, muscle mass, all of those things. And it was created in 1830s by a mathematician.
Oh, yeah.
Not for health. It was created just to see the average man. And it was used to measure a simple way to describe weight trends across groups. That's it. It wasn't meant to identify health. So decades later, medicine adopted it as a way to determine health. So I love this. BMI reduces health to one number, but it can't tell the difference between muscle and fat or account for age, sex, ethnicity, or fat distribution.
That's right.
It doesn't account for anything.
Right.
Just the number on a scale and how tall you are.
Right. No.
So the oversimplification and this number has led to stigma, patients being overlooked and dismissed in medical care.
Totally.
And so,
harmful for sure.
Yeah, your health is more than a formula. It's a full picture that BMI can't capture.
That's right.
So pause before you freak out if they say your child has whatever BMI or you leave an office and they've said that, because just throw it out.
Yeah.
Throw it out.
Yeah, and something I'll say too is like you can decline to get weighed.
I'm glad you said that.
I've always declined to get weighed.
I know that feels scary, you people pleasers. They don't need your weight.
That's right. They don't.
Maybe sometimes for medical necessity, yes.
Sure, and even then you can like turn around backwards.
Yeah, ask for a blind weight.
Ask for a blind weight for sure. Like, so yeah, even with kids, like really just question: does my kid do we actually need to know their weight?
Yep.
P.S. Get rid of your scales. Don't
Throw
have
them
scales
away.
in your home. You don't need them.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's just a number. Good. P.S. it.
Yes.
Okay. Also, I guess I want to ask just takeaways. You mentioned a book, I think, or what was it by Gwendolyn Doyle?
Oh yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So I think it was actually a blog post
Okay.
that she wrote. But yeah, would now be a good time for me to share that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, this is the way that I wish everyone in the world viewed their bodies. So let me share with you what Glennon had to say. It's called Your Body is Not Your Masterpiece. Your body is not your masterpiece. Your life is. It is suggested to us a million times a day that our bodies are projects. They aren't. Our lives are. Our spirituality is. Our relationships are. Our work is. Stop spending all day obsessing, cursing, perfecting your body like it's all you've got to offer the world. Your body is not your art. It's your paintbrush. Whether your paintbrush is a tall paintbrush or a thin paintbrush or a stocky paintbrush or a scratched up paintbrush is completely irrelevant. What is relevant is that you have a paintbrush which can be used to transfer your insides onto the canvas of your life where others can see it and be inspired and comforted by it. Your body is not your offering. It's just a really amazing instrument which you can use to create your offering each day. Don't curse your paintbrush. Don't sit in a corner wishing you had a different paintbrush. You're wasting your time. You've got the one you've got. Be grateful because without it, you would have nothing with which to paint your life's work. Your life's work is the love you give and receive, and your body is the instrument you use to accept and offer love on your soul's behalf. It's a system. We're encouraged to obsess over our instrument's shape, but our body's shape has no effect on its ability to accept and offer love for us. Just none. Maybe we continue to obsess because as long as we keep wringing our hands about our paintbrush's shape, then we don't have to get to work painting our lives. Stop fretting. The truth is that all paintbrush shapes work just fine, and anyone who tells you different is trying to sell you something. Don't buy, just paint. No, wait. First, stop what you're doing and say thank you to your body. Right now. Say thank you to your eyes for taking in the beauty of sunsets and storms and children blowing out birthday candles. Say thank you to your hands for writing love letters and opening doors and stirring soup and waving to strangers. Say thank you to your legs for walking you from danger to safety and climbing so many mountains for you. Then pick up your instrument and start painting this day beautiful and bold and wild and free and you.
I mean, mic drop. That is all that needs to be said. That's beautiful. Yeah. We'll try to post that in the show notes if that's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that would be such a great resource for so many to reread and read again.
Right. When you start getting fixated on wanting to change the appearance. Yeah, let's look at that and just be grateful.
Yeah, and really what it's about is this, I mean, this is deep, but it's our soul. We're just housing our soul in this vessel, right? And so we get so hung up on shape, size, appearance, and so we waste a lot of time worrying about that, where we could be doing so many other things. That was beautiful.
And we're just given one, right when we were born, we were given this body, and it's such an important job to take care of it. This is the one you're going to have throughout your entire life. If you got one car that you had to make last your entire life, you better take good care of that car. I know it has a ding and a scratch and it's not the color you wanted. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And please take care of your car. Your vehicle is going to be your bestie through this entire life. When everyone else is gone, your body will be there by your side.
Yeah, so true. In closing, is there anything else you want to share, or anything, that you want people to know?
Yeah, just that there really is so much hope for this, and that there's nothing wrong with you if you find yourself turning to food to get emotional needs met. It's actually really common, and hey, there's way worse things you could be turning to. So, but yeah, it's usually a sign of there's unmet emotional needs, and those really matter. So yeah, let's look at those. But there's, so many people who've turned their lives around and have so much more freedom and space in their brains.
And joy.
Yes,
and
joy and peace. And so, I totally think that anyone listening, that could be them.
Thank you. And where can people find you?
Yeah, moderneve.org is our website. Modern.eve.inc is our Instagram. And we see clients all over the state of Utah, as well as in our office in Murray. But love treating not only eating disorders and disordered eating, but the trauma that underlies it. And that's
and
really
how
important to us.
young what's the lowest age? Is it 18 and up?
Like 13 and up.
Okay.
Yeah, we see teens and adults.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Shannon.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The Lift and Make Lighter podcast is brought to you by LÉVO, a primary mental health care provider. At LÉVO, we specialize in comprehensive mental health assessments, diagnoses, and treatments for all ages. For more information, visit levomind.com. That's levomind.com.